Hey everyone, welcome back to Tech and Talk. Today we're diving into the world of SQL constraint and imagine if you have a situation as your table is already created and now you want to apply some constraint on that table. Then what are the ways to change it without losing your data and without impacting or changing the behavior of the live data? So let's get started. Here guys, imagine your table is already created very long back and it has millions of records available in this table. Now let's say you have a requirement to add a constraint on existing table, then how will you add? You might thought here you can drop a table and then you will recreate the table. But think practical here. You have a millions of record available in this table. If you drop a table here, then you will end up by losing your millions of record, right? So we have to think what are the other ways to tackle this situation. So guys, we have a four ways to handle this tricky situation. First one here is adding a constraint. Let's take an example here. We will have to add a primary key on existing table because consider here previously it was missing in your table. That is why we're adding a constraint later. It means when we created a new table long back, that time we were not aware as we need to add a primary key in this table, right? Second, what is the second way? Modifying a constraint. Here, when I am saying modifying, it means you need to change the name of the constraint. Yeah, that is also the possibility. You might need to change the constraint name. What is the third way? Disabling or enabling the constraint. Let's say here you need to disable the constraint for time being. So in that case, you can use this way to disable it, and once you have done some modification on table, then maybe later you can enable it again. Correct? What is the fourth way? Consider here changing the constraint type. So here you can think logical. You can drop a constraint and add a constraint with a new type. So remember here one guys, when I am saying constraint, always remember it can be one of those from primary key, unique key, foreign key, default or check constraint. Here guys, we will see how to add a constraint on live data. So, and what is the syntax for it? So it's a simple alter table, table name, add a constraint, constraint name, constraint type, and provide your column name here. Here I will use this fruit table to perform the operations on constraint. So here you can see guys the fruit ID which is integer, name, color and price. So there is no primary key is not available on this table, and also I have inserted 10,000 record in this fruit table. So you can see here the 10,000 records are present with names, colors and price. Now let's say I have to make this fruit ID as a primary key. Then what will be my query here? Alter table fruit. What will be my table name here? dbo dot fruit, and I have to add a constraint now. Add constraint. What will be my constraint name? pk fruits and fruit ID. Which constraint I have to add here? Primary key, right? On which column I have to add? Fruit ID. So my query is ready. Here, while adding the add constraint, you can give any name. So it's not mandatory, but it's a good practice to follow this sequence. So let me execute this query now. I think I misspelled the name. Let me click. Okay, let me re-execute it. Okay, let me refresh this table now. Columns. See guys, here now it is showing the primary key is applied to fruit ID. Okay, So this way you can add a constraint on a existing table. So imagine here your table is already created and it has the live data. Then this way you can also add the constraint. So also here you can add unique key also similar way. If you want to make it as a unique key, then you can add the unique key. Here we'll see the syntax for modifying a constraint. Imagine you are having a existing data and you already applied the constraint. But now you want to rename that constraint. Then what will be your syntax? Alter table, table name, rename constraint, old constraint name to new constraint name. So you want to give here the new constraint name. So this way you can rename your existing constraint. But here you can remember one thing guys, in MS SQL you cannot use the rename constraint. But this query will work in the Oracle SQL. So this is a part of SQL. So that is why I added this modifying a constraint here. So you should be aware. But I cannot show you practically in MS SQL for rename constraint. What is the query to disable and enable constraint on live data? Alter table, table name, disable constraint, constraint name, and for enable alter table, table name, enable constraint and constraint name. But remember guys, in MS SQL that syntax is slight different. So the disable and enable syntax is in Oracle SQL, and in MS SQL we have to use no check instead of disable, and instead of enable we have to check constraint. So here guys, I will add one more constraint on the fruit table, and on I'm using the name column, and I will use the check constraint. So here I will check that name should not like apple and banana. So when you are inserting the new records in the fruit table, then that time it will check the name is not like apple and banana. So it will not allow the apple and banana while inserting the record. Okay, so let me execute this query. I already written this query. Okay, okay, this constraint is applied on the column name, and it will not allow the apple and banana now. Now let's say I will insert a one record in this table. See here now it is, I am trying to insert the apple, and then it is giving me the error, the insert statement conflicted with check constraint. Okay, so it means it is not allowing the apple now because the constraint is already applied. Now let's say I have to disable this constraint. Then what will be my query? Alter table. Here I'll have to give no check and constraint name. Okay, see now I will execute this query. Okay, command completed successfully. Now again I will try this query to insert the record. So it is applied or not. So instead of 10,001, now I'm giving to 10,002. Okay, one row affected. It means now you can able to insert the data with apple because this constraint is disabled. Now let's say I have to again enable this constraint. Then I will change this query with no check to check only. Let me execute it. Okay, now the again that constraint is applied and it will not allow again the apple and banana. Let me check it again. I will give this 10,003 now, and I will try to insert these. See guys, again it is giving me the error. So here I explain the two ways how to disable and how to enable the constraint in SQL Server. So here guys, I will show you how to drop the constraint, and what will the syntax for drop constraint. Alter table, table name, drop constraint, constraint name. But when that situation will occur, when you already added the constraint, that time only you can drop the constraint, right? So remember this guys. So here what I will do guys, we already added this check constraint, right? So I will try to delete this. So what will be my query here? Alter table, table name, and then drop constraint. And which constraint you have to drop? The constraint name, right? So I will delete that. Okay, so that constraint is now dropped from the table. So this way you can drop the constraint. Also, let's say we have applied the primary key as well. So I will try to delete that constraint. Then I will give the primary key constraint name. See guys, so whatever constraint we created for this video, so we already deleted this constraint. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this video informative, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Your support encourages us to create more content like this in future. Stay tuned for more valuable information.